What's going on, everyone? Nothing happening in the crypto world today. So we're going to have to do a show where I have no idea what we're going to be talking about. I'm just kidding. Bitcoin is exploding to 47,000. New highs, 50,000 probably coming soon. Did I get you? Did I make you think that this was going to be a boring show? Well, there's no such thing as boring shows. This is the Investing Bros. Even on a boring day, we find ways to make the show interesting. And today, we don't have to do that much work because the price action, the news, the Gary Genslers of the world are very interesting to talk about today. I am joined by my good, favorite, amazing, fantastic co-host, Mr. T. Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T. Shroom, did I trick you? Did I make you think, wait, what the heck is Tim doing with the intro?
Yeah, I just put my finger on the end show button because I thought we were going to close it right there.
It was going to be a dumb show at that point.
Man, we love having fun here at the Investing Bros, don't we? We just can't get enough of it. I've got a quote here for us. It's a little bit of a mind bender. Let's go ahead and get on into it. Be who you are and say what you feel, Tim, because those who mind don't matter. And those who matter, well, they don't mind. And that's from Bernard M. Bruch. What do you think about that one there, Tim?
Yeah. If you suck, it's going to matter. There might not be that many people that matter to you if you suck as a person and you're just going to be who you are. But, it reminds me of the good old quote. I'm not going to cuss. And, of course, this person is not one. This is a quote from his comedy routine, not from his livelihood. We're going to bring up the old Bill Cosby. When he said,
Okay.
The show's starting off kind of rough. But Bill Cosby used to say, he's just talking about like people advertising for drugs, saying drugs they just enhance who you are. He's like, yeah, but what if you're an a-hole? So, same thing. Some people might not, some people need Jesus. In fact, all people need Jesus, T-Shroom. I know I was one of those people who I needed to change. I needed to change quite a bit because I sucked.
Amen. Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing a lot of change on the charts today. That's one thing I'll say.
A lot of change on the charts. Let's see. We got a lot of people here in chat already. Joe Nichols, the great day so far. Shane, what's up, broskies? What's up, Shane? We got a lot to talk about here today. Yeah, we want to jump into the charts like right off the bat, T-Shirt. We're just going to jump on in here.
I think we should.
Well, we're going to go deeper into this, but things are kind of exploding here even more recently. Don't be surprised here. I took some profit on a trade at 47,000. We went up a little bit higher, but as a whole, I felt like I caught it pretty well. I still feel good about taking profit. You don't go broke taking profits, guys. Let's start off there. But
it's true.
Bitcoin kind of making a little move right now with these Bollinger Bands. Could we see a little bit push higher, maybe towards 47.5, 47.6, and maybe see some bullish divergence? You're going to see potentially, we technically have, sorry, I said bullish divergence. I mean bearish divergence. We technically have a little bit of bearish divergence right here already on the 5-minute, but then you start to make a move out here towards the hourly. Hourly might be asking a little much. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. 15-minute, you definitely could see a little pop back up here. Price goes higher. RSI stays lower. And we see some divergence here. Now, there's a lot of reasons to stay bullish also. Again, I liked 47. There's reasons to take profit at 47. I'm sitting here wondering, should I get back in or should I wait? There are levels lower I want to look at to maybe enter again, because here's the thing. We will cover this in the news section. In case people are wondering, this is not the it rally, right? So this is going to pull back here at some point. Now, do we make it to 48 and then pull back to 47? Are we now at 47? Are we going to pull back to 46 or 45 or something? There will be a pullback. The question is, where will the top of this little run be and where will the pullback be? And this is not this is news based off of hype about the ETFs coming out. We'll talk more about that in a second, but this is not the actual ETF run up, right? So I still feel good about it long term. And more than likely, I took profit here because I am seeing signs that we could pull back decently. But if we don't, I think this next entry, I'm going to go ahead and just write it until I feel like we've taken all of the momentum of the ETF rally. And then we're going to wait for a bigger pullback here. But longer time frames definitely could come back a little more. Here's what I'm liking, though. If you're still in a long, now you are seeing the money flow start to keel over, but we had a lot of money flow come in, Lots of extra buyers. That's keeling over as well. We're still above that little trend assistant. We did get the red reversal, and we do have a gray dot of bearish momentum, but the price action really hasn't decided that that's what's happening here. We're still hovering right up here at right below 47, right at 47. As literally as I say it, it goes back and forth right here. The reason why I took profit, ladies and gentlemen, though, let's take a look at Bitcoin's 12-hour little liquidation chart coming back here. You guys will see fat yellow coming in here back at 46.7. I said, you know what? 47 is a psychological level. Also had some more liquidations up there. I went ahead, put that take profit entry over on Blowfin perfectly at 47. I also was in a long on Cardano. Took some profit at about 54 cents on Cardano. There's some levels I'm looking to pull back. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say here, there's going to be some people potentially tempted to wait for 44 again because of this yellow liquidation line right here. I think that's asking for a little much. I think that 46K, though, could be interesting. You do see some liquidity kind of pulling back up in here. When you go back over to the chart as well and you take a zoom out, let's go to the 4-hour. We had a little level. It was only 2 touches, but if you went back to the high of December 5th and the high of January 2nd, and you attach those, we broke through this resistance. I think it would be pretty healthy to pull back down to that similar level, back down towards 46, kind of regroup, and then take back off to the upside. So in reality, could we go a lot lower? We could. We could potentially, guys. I mean, there's liquidations technically down to 43.3. Not really feeling strong about that happening. But could we see potentially back down to 45K, maybe a little lower 44K, 45K? We could. I'm not necessarily leaning on that. I think maybe a revisit towards 46. I think if you guys could get a scoop up and a purchase in, don't go crazy with it. Again, use Blowfin if you guys want to enter a trade. I've kind of gotten the flow recently of entering some longer term, low leverage trades, 3x, 4x, maybe get risky, go like 6 or 7x, but I'm not doing all these 30, 40, 50, 75 X's. First of all, anxiety when you do those just goes through the roof. I was having a full conversation with a guy today, and he entered a trade. He's trading, and he's like, "Oh, this is so exciting." Oh, and then he's like, "I'm up $500." Oh no, I'm so anxious. Oh my gosh, I'm just like, you just watch this guy go through the full emotional roller coaster of leverage trading with high leverage. Don't be that guy. Be conservative here. Look for potentially about 46K, especially if you took profit up here around 47. 46 is going to look really good. Just save yourself $1,000 if you invested with. I don't know how much you would have to. I don't know. You buy $1,000 lower than if you bought a whole Bitcoin. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here with Bitcoin. Let's pull up some LUX Algo indicators here as well. Other reasons why I kind of felt strong about this. Now, it's not going to say it right now because we just set a new high, but we definitely blasted through our weak high. Now we're seeing it get stronger high. We talked about this indicator the other day. We're definitely high up within the wave. And then again, coming over here, we're seeing all of it. We're seeing all the signs on the 4-hour, hourly. They're pretty much everything is saying overextended. What I'm kind of looking for is if we see another push to the upside. I'm leaning towards a push to the upside is a situation to set up bearish divergence and then regroup. But T-Shroom, we're going to get into a lot of other coins here later. Let's take a quick look. I got Ethereum. Ethereum actually, it's another coin people are looking forward to having some big moves here in Q1. They got some big updates coming here. Of course, got a nice buy signal right there. I will say, though, they didn't pump as much as they necessarily could have. You're going to see Bitcoin's up 6% today. Cardano's up 9%. Solana 10%. Ethereum only up 5.7%. So still kind of lagging behind here a little bit. But what are we seeing here with Ethereum? Not necessarily seeing on the 4-hour chart the same overreaction. You see it's not even up above the 70 on the RSI. So we can see Ethereum make a little push a little further to the upside. I'm sure the hourly chart's going to say it. Yep. Hourly chart definitely showing reversals, but I'm loving this. We're just crossed, and this is one I got burned on the other day when I saw everything else. I wanted to long a position. It was the exact opposite. I wanted to long a position because everything was bullish, but the money flow had just crossed below the assistant trend. Yes, we just got the reversal, but we just had the money flow on the 1-hour chart for Ethereum rise above that trend. So not feeling super strong about an Ethereum short necessarily at the moment. I just had to refresh the page.
No, Tim, I'm actually in a 10x long on Ethereum.
On ETH? Oh, yeah.
That's
Love
right.
it.
Yeah.
I did see, I think you put a stop loss down at 2310?
I've moved it since. My stop loss is at 2,343. So that would be in, but It's in profit. Yeah.
Yeah, you take that liquidation in profit. That's pretty good. I think we could pull back, guys. Even though I'm still bullish on Ethereum, I think we could pull back here. Again, it's a little underwhelming here at the moment. Everything else is well above this reversal band right here. Ethereum just kind of politely sticking right up to it. It does have a strong high currently right here at 62%. It's not overwhelming. That's close to 50-50, but we have our weak low all the way back down here. Not too worried about falling all the way back there. But when we come to liquidations, I think I was looking at this earlier. I think Ethereum is one that we definitely could pull back below. I think that there's a good chance, especially if Bitcoin pulls back that far. Look for back below 2,300. We have some heavy liquidations all the way back down towards 2,230. Could be an interesting one. We were just this morning. Where were we this morning? All the way back down here towards below 2,200 earlier this morning. Rallying here at the moment. Nothing. I don't know why we became a look at Ethereum. I just kind of did it. I just kind of was like, what should we look at before we move on to our news? I clicked Ethereum. Underwhelming at the moment. Not really loving everything I'm seeing here on the chart. Equilibrium. Here's what I'll say. I'll say this is where I'm going to start looking at some pullbacks. Maybe not for Bitcoin because Bitcoin overwhelmingly set its new high, but definitely looking at this equilibrium right here around 2270 could be interesting for Ethereum. I think even when you come back here and look at Cardano, for example, that one I think I like the 15-minute because we're just running into the equilibrium on the hourly chart. This one, you see Cardano. We can do more Cardano TA here in just a little bit, but we have an order block and an equilibrium back down towards 50 cents. And then you combine it right here with our liquidations starting to add up here. Guys, remember, this is the time for Bitcoin to do special stuff. Altcoins don't have to. Look at all of the heavy, long liquidations that could happen back down right there at / a little bit above 50 cents. So I'm not here trying to spread any FUD whatsoever. What I'm saying is, guys, we've had an amazing rally today. Look for the places to take profits. Look for the ones you want to stay on. How long do you want to stay in the trade? But we're absolutely seeing things on the chart saying, hey, yeah, this was an exciting run. We can pull back, though. Guess what? Rallies have higher highs and higher lows. Those lows, though, are sometimes not very fun if you're in a long. So keep an eye on those. We'll check out more of those a little bit later on in the show during the Q&A section. I'd love to start, you guys start asking questions about coins. T-Stream and I can kind of have discussion, debate on what we think of those coins moving forward. Are they coins that could 30x, 40x? Are they coins that will only 10x? Where are we looking for on a big pullback? Where would we want to buy them? Where would we want to sell them? So we can have some of that conversation here as well today. But it is a very bullish day. You love to see it, especially for Bitcoin. It definitely is looking like 50K is coming within the next couple of days, more than likely. T-Shroom.
Yes.
Let's take a break right there. It's a little early in the show to take a break, but I'm going to take a break. We're going to transition into news real quick. Before we do that, though, before I hand you over the control of the show, I want to let people know we are super close. I told you guys on Saturday, every time now that we hit a new 1,000 mark for subscribers, we'll be giving away $100 to a lucky subscriber. We are within 100 subscribers of that number. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. If you guys love crypto, if you love the investing bros, hit that subscribe button. I want to do a $100 giveaway this week, and I think we will. I think we're getting close to 1,000 new subscribers every single month. We are a fast growing channel because you guys are awesome and the crypto markets are amazing to cover. But I want to give away $100 this week. Let's get there to where like every single month we're giving away $100 because we hit a new 1,000 subscriber mark. What do you think about that, T-Shroom?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's an excellent way to spend, some of the money that's been coming our way. I think it's a fantastic expenditure, and I think that a lot of folks in the chat would agree.
You see people like Eric Gallup. Eric Gallup said, glad I found you guys. I'm glad that you found us as well, Eric. I'm glad that we found you, in fact.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about that is that we're not so much guys as we are bros. That's the only thing.
We identify as bros.
That's right.
Here.
That's right.
Yes.
And it's a lot of fun. Well, Tim, I've got a factoid for you. Are you ready to go ahead and jump on into it?
I'm pretty ready.
All right. Well, this factoid is brought to you by a very special Investing Bros Bitcoin meetup. We're actually having a meetup down in Naples, Florida And Bitcoin Day is putting it on. It's not It's not an Investing Bros exclusive event, I will say, but it is happening January the 20th. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tim and I are both going to be there. We're road tripping down from Atlanta down to Naples to have a ton of fun. So go check it out now. The link is in our description to go get your tickets to Bitcoin Day. And if you didn't know, the future is Bitcoin. That's the kind of the slogan for the meetup down there in Naples, Florida. If you live in Florida, this is an excellent time to meet up with the bros and meet up with an awesome, growing Bitcoin community down there in SoFlo. Tim, what is the original title of the Bitcoin white paper? Is it A, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system? B, Bitcoin, freedom to the world? C, you might be noticing a trend here, Bitcoin, a currency for the digital age? Or is it D, Bitcoin, because fiat sucks?
I wish it was D for sure. If I got voting rights as to what we should have called it, it would be D. I'm going to assume though it's A, just based off the way it was written. And I've read the white paper, and so I'm trying to remember like what if it said it up top of it. It's been now like a year since I've read the white paper. You know, that's a new thing that we should start doing every year annually. We reread the Bitcoin white paper.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with A. I'm going to go with A peer-to-peer something.
He's locking it in. Peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Well,
Yeah,
of course, I really appreciate it, Tim, getting that answer in before the chat goes ahead and answers it.
Yeah, because they're in agreement. Except for, well, again, Mr. J agrees with me. We should vote for D. Listen, if we could vote, go ahead and type this in because we already know it's A. Which one would you guys vote for if we got to re-vote for the name of Bitcoin? A, B, C, or D. Pull up for them again, T-shirt so they can see it, and let's let them vote. There we go.
A, B, C, or D.
Choose one of those. What do you wish Bitcoin's original white paper title was? And we'll see.
I love it.
D's in chat from
Alex O is really bringing in the lulls for sure. Just saying all of them, including some alphabetical characters there.
Yeah,
I mean,
he threw an EFG. Too. Get the options.
Oh man, we're having fun, and the fun is always brought to you by Bitcoin Day. Thank you so much for sponsoring our factoid today. The elf thanks you for sure. Look at him swinging his legs there, having a ton of fun. Well, the big news of the day is that there has not been an addition to the only website that matters in crypto, which is the SEC.gov website. There has been no additions. So contrary to what you may be seeing, hearing, smelling, sensing, feeling, there are no approvals for the spot Bitcoin ETFs just yet. But according to our calendar that was created by me this morning, is also the thumbnail.
This is good. This is helpful.
We were supposed to have some news come out on Grayscale. I don't think that we've seen that yet. And then tomorrow's kind of a snooze fest. Wednesday is where you'll expect all the fireworks, the explosions, and exactly all the volatility. Yeah. And then Thursday, who knows? Yeah. It kind of depends on how the market wants to respond to this, how the manipulators want to jump in. And my advice is to hide your kids and hide your wife because it's going to get crazy. And definitely don't be investing anything more than you can afford to lose in these markets. As of today or tomorrow, if you have money in the market that you shouldn't have, this might be the time to go ahead and make the right choice, guys. Don't make a foolhardy choice. Be smart. Let's go ahead and get into some of the news here. A lot of tweets, guys. James Seyffert tweeting out, the fees here. I covered this much more in depth on the morning show.
Oh, yeah. This is big.
Go back and watch it. Ultimately here, guys, this does not apply to a lot of the folks here in crypto. We don't care how much these banks are going to make off of these fees. Ultimately, that's a game for Wall Street. But ultimately, the lowest one is from Bitwise at 0.24. That's going to be the ongoing fee. And then Van Eyck has a 0.25 fee. But there's also zero fees for a couple of them who are coming in for free for a limited time. Invesco Galaxy Digital is one of the ones that's coming in. It's functionally zero fee for the first 6 months. So that's, if you are looking to get exposure to, hey, we shouldn't assume that nobody is tuning in to, see if they should buy the ETFs. But most of the folks listening to the sound of my voice now, I have to assume, have heavy exposure to Bitcoin's spot price or maybe the futures ETFs. Or some, a mining company. But if you are looking to get spot Bitcoin ETF exposure and actually buy those ETFs that are about to be approved or disapproved, perhaps, The free one is going to be Invesco, and the ticker is BTCO. By
Now-
free, you mean there's no fee. Which, if you're investing like $100, right,
Yeah.
you're going to only have to pay 0.2 cents, right? That's how that works. For you, investing $100, that's probably not going to be all that significant. You're going to go with the one that you want, right? Which is obviously the Van Eyck one, which the ticker is HODL. That's the one I would do if I was going to invest.
Well, and you also have to think about this isn't a big deal because more than likely you're purchasing this ETF
Right.
for a long haul where you're expecting significant profits. In which case, less than 1% is not going to phase you one bit whatsoever. Now, I do have a question for you, Tisham. I don't know if you know the answer to this. Those are the fees that they're proposing for now. Like, again, a lot of these companies are going to have a proposed fee that's really small, and then later on it'll get bigger. Is that the fee only for entry into it? What's the fee to get out? Like, is there a fee to get out? Because this would suck. And I don't think there's gonna be too bad of a problem, but like I enter in for like 0%, right? But then that company waits a year and then they raise it to like 5% to get out. It's like, oh, that sucks. I mean, hopefully I make more than 5%, but you get my point. Like, are you locked into a fee for your exit as well? Or the thought like, oh no, like that's something you should think about as well is, hey, which of these companies do I think will have the longest term exit fee? Because more than likely, again, people are going to be purchasing these. And I'm saying this as someone who I'm trying to even get in the brainwave of this person because most of the people watching the show, I'll put a 1 in chat if you plan on purchasing one of these ETFs. And what I'm saying is assuming that wherever you are, there will still be exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, different on-off ramps through a more decentralized, but you get my point. If you still have an exchange like Binance or Coinbase that you can on-off ramp your crypto, would you purchase these ETFs? So the reason I ask that is because I'm like sitting here thinking like most people aren't going to think through this, but I would definitely want to know, hey, what's my exit fee to get off of these when I'm purchasing? So some people are saying, yeah, they would do it. So Test Group says he would. C90 would. Salt. Okay, so IRA account. True. That is true. I forgot that a lot of people are going to use these for their IRA accounts. It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Joe Nickel. All right, more people than I thought. But I did forget because I didn't know. I forgot that people who like benefits and everything they're going to have Roth IRAs as a part of their package. They can choose something to put that money into. All right, sorry, Tisham, you were saying something.
Well, I was just going to say, for the vast majority of especially retail investors, fees are largely irrelevant in the ETF space. It's really only when you're managing billions of dollars that those fees become significant. Now, I say that, but your financial advisor, if they never bring up fees, that's a red flag, right? But most of the time, it just doesn't matter, right? When you're handling billions of dollars, it does, because that's going to be potentially 5-6 figures of fees that you're paying, and that's why BlackRock does it, right? That's why these banks issue the ETFs after all, because they are charging a fee. So that's really the bottom line. I mean, I'm only bringing it to your attention because it's kind of a big headline today, but for the most people, who cares? These fees do not matter at all. They're never going to matter to you.
It is competition, though. Like the reason this is important is all these firms are competing with each other because they want to get out the ball rolling. Like this is also a really bullish thing of we're seeing the competition come in that they're going to push really hard, and because we see them competing with each other, that means they have very high expectations of billions of dollars coming in very, very soon. This is an interesting conversation. But I think what we should really walk away with from this conversation being is that the demand for these ETFs might be higher than we think, and we could see the price of Bitcoin shoot up very, very quickly after the second round of these ETFs gets approved.
It's true. It's very, very true. All right, well, let's keep moving here. I think we've beat the fees over the head with a pretty good stick there. Let's see with the next one here. Bitcoin ETF deadline day. SEC receives updated S1s from all crypto issuers except Hashdex. Hashdex more concerned with their advertisements apparently than their actual filing information. So according to Fox journalist Eleanor Tourette, which up until now has been extremely reliable, I have no reason to believe she's not reliable, All
Too
issuers
great.
except for Hashdex, a global crypto asset manager, have successfully submitted their updated S1s to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission by the official deadline of 8 a.m. Tourette suggests that unless there is a last-minute filing from Hashdex, these issuers have completed their preparations and are theoretically ready to launch their Bitcoin ETF. So all the horses are ready to cross the starting line and start collecting fees and start delivering one of the most important investment instruments available to mankind. So the filings submitted by crypto issuers highlight the measure taken to seek approval from the SEC, and Bloomberg ETF expert James Seyffert sheds light on the fee structures as in the tweet that we just took a look at. So ultimately, guys, I don't know how damning this is going to be for Hashdex. They could have just stumbled here at the starting line, but my guess is that will probably be remedied. I think there's too much money on the line and for that to be, that big of an issue where Hashdex would just be completely left out of this approval wave at all. But it could be, and that could really suck, and people are definitely going to get fired for that if they were the ones responsible. Another interesting headline here. I'm sure, Tim, you don't have too much to say on that one before we move on, but
Too much to say, actually.
okay. There's a rare ETH to Bitcoin signal appearing for the third time ever. Now, don't get too crazy. All it is just a ETH to Bitcoin chart, which I do have pulled up on my own chart. But as you can see here, ETH to Bitcoin is actually tapping a pretty long-running, since 2020, uptrending line of support. You can see that there's been it's tapped 3 times. So one, technically, the chartist here is only counting these because they can't. Yeah, only counting 2 taps so far. It looks like 3, but now it's happening for a 3rd/4th time here. And this is one of the reasons why I went ahead and went long on Ethereum, because I do think that there is the potential for some explosive move higher. So far, we haven't really seen that on the charts. We've seen some move higher, and which has been nice. And it pushed through a critical line of resistance that I was tracking, which was this here, this line at 2,336. I got in just before it broke through that, but that's what I was kind of tracking. And now it has pushed higher. I'm expecting it to probably go ahead and move through this upper band of the Bollinger Band through the next couple of days. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Another thing I'm tracking is the potential bull cross that's setting up here on the daily for just Ethereum. This is not Ethereum to Bitcoin. And then also you are seeing a tick up here on the Ichimoku. I pronounce that differently every single time.
That's fun. That's the one fun things of the Ichimoku cloud.
That's right. So I'm seeing a decent amount of confluence here, bullish for Ethereum. I think I'm going to stick in my long for now, although it hasn't been quite as explosive as I thought it would be. When I draw the lines here, it looks a little bit different on the weekly, but ultimately you are kind of seeing a pretty decent lineup where Ethereum and Bitcoin as pairs are starting to look like you should see a breakout for Ethereum at some point. Now, if this gets broken through and we see a big, push to the downside, and that is possible, if Bitcoin does go ahead and explode and leaves the rest of crypto behind Wednesday, then you could see Ethereum break through this and move to the downside before probably leveling out and then recovering. But ultimately, Tim, I'm thinking Ethereum is going to be bullish. That's kind of my overall thesis, and I'm wanting to trade it.
And even if it isn't right now, it will be here. End of quarter one, those updates that are coming out are going to be pretty big because, again, what's the biggest problem with Ethereum right now? Gas fees. What's one of the biggest things this new update's going to seek to solve? Gas fees. So I am bullish on Ethereum. I will say what you were showing, it was showing like it was going to break below it. And actually, unless something positive comes in for Ethereum, I think we might see in the next week or two the Bitcoin dominance climb while altcoins are climbing. But guess what that means? If the price of an altcoin is going up, if the price of altcoins are still going up, but the dominance is rising as well, that just means Bitcoin is rising exponentially faster, in which case we could see the ETH over Bitcoin chart continue to fall downside. Not anywhere near as far the downside as I still believe that Ben Cowan is working with old data. He's constantly talking about that chart. Haven't heard him talk about it more recently, but what he's predicting, like below the ETH over Bitcoin chart, he's predicted that it could get back down to like 0.035. I think it's a little too low. I think that's pretty low. But I did say we're kind of at the levels I gave us as the level to say, hey, watch out for this is the bottom. We're in a zone where we could dip below the 0.05 on ETH over Bitcoin. But then again, we're going to get a pump probably later in quarter one when the halving event for Bitcoin is not just bullish for Bitcoin. It will be bullish for crypto as a whole. And I think that Ethereum, with that new update, the attention to it, the fact that it didn't ever really get its own explosive movement, and the halving event, these will all be positive signs for Ethereum for the long term. To the upside. I still think Ethereum is more than likely going to be doing somewhere between a 10 to 15x on this bull market. Not as much as maybe a Solana or Cardano or other altcoins, but still worth investment long term.
Yeah, we're going to crack open another tweet here from the SEC. What could they have just said very recently? We're going to crack that open. But before we do, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm T-Shroom, and I'm obviously joined here by Tim. We go live every single weekday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm live 9 a.m., actually the first crypto news to be on the beautiful ears of traders every single weekday, 9 a.m., first crypto news, and I'm really glad to do it. The only video that goes out earlier than mine is Tim's, which goes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can absolutely get your fix in the morning and the afternoon. And
I don't know. I don't know if we're the first, but we're definitely one of the first. There's a whole grouping of people out in Europe who definitely beat us to it. But if you don't like to wake up at ridiculous hours, yeah, you catch us here first. We're the first fun show. Everybody else before us is boring, and that no hate to them. I love them. They're not boring. They're just not as fun as the bros.
Yeah. Well, I asked,
and we've worked our way now into a nice hole where it's a nice time to go and get back out of that hole and get back into. I believe if I know what is next, what you just hinted at, this is probably the biggest story of them all, and is the reason why Bitcoin was over 47,000. I do believe we're back down below it right now. If I go check my chart, we're still at 47. All right, we're at 47. We're good. That's the Ether Bitcoin chart. This is this one here. We're at $47,028 right now.
On the monthly chart, what is this? Oh, the weekly.
Hey, this is the weekly. I was looking at ETH over Bitcoin. It's okay, T-Show. It's okay. What is this big story coming from the SEC this morning? Or better yet, I do believe if this is the right one, it's from someone's personal Twitter account.
That's right. We've got an update from none other than the king of regulators, Mr. Gary Gensler. He's been doing some warning of retail investors. He said a thread. So really, working closely with his social media team to be in trend here, starting a thread. Said some things to keep in mind if you're considering investing in crypto. So listen close. The number one thing here is investments in crypto assets can be exceptionally risky and are often volatile. A number of major platforms. You really want me to read this? No, you don't. Of course, it's just a bunch of just cautionary language ultimately. But I think what's going on, what we could be seeing in Bitcoin, is kind of a spite trade. It's kind of saying, hey, Gary. Every time you say, he's almost like the new Jim Cramer. It's like every time you speak, people just are becoming more and more bullish on not just Bitcoin, but crypto assets in general, to the extent where you actually get some really big accounts chiming in, Zero Hedge saying, kind of taking on the same theme here, saying, unlike banks in the entire Western financial system, crypto has never had a central bank bailout. In fact, central banks are actively conspiring against it, and yet its price is fast approaching all-time highs, having survived countless crises on its own. So kind of funny there from Zero Hedge, obviously a giant Twitter account in the space, and then Crypto Rover saying spot ETF confirmed. So it's just a lot of fun and games. Gary, you've won a couple of times here in 2023, but so far you are losing. And those the Ripple case kind of pierced the veil to the impenetrable strength that the SEC seem to have had for the last probably 5 decades. Well, now I think the SEC as an institution is in question, and it seems as they've overstepped their jurisdiction, and now they're getting smacked down by the United States court system. And so anytime that Gary tweets, he just basically gets ratioed and prices go higher. So Tim, what are your thoughts on this one here?
I hear what you're saying, T-Shirt, but I actually think that I think there's another way to think about this tweet, which isn't necessarily the opposite of what you said, but it's like you just went down a rabbit hole. I didn't really go down that rabbit hole.
Great.
This tweet that Gary put out today was not him admitting defeat, was not him doing something in frustration. He might be frustrated. I don't know. This is the Gary Gensler bat signal that something is about to happen. He did the same exact thing days before the Ethereum futures ETF got approved. In a way, this is his mode of washing his hands in case anything goes wrong with crypto. If the Bitcoin price crashes or anything else happens, this is him washing his hands and saying, guys, we're about to approve this. We're about to allow you to be exposed to this risky asset, but I'm warning you, there's still a lot of fraud. There's still a lot of hucksters. There's still a lot of scams, and I'm letting you know. This is like putting on a raw milk container, not for human consumption, for animal use only. Well, they sell them sometimes in grocery stores. They know you're going to drink it as a human if you're health conscious, but legally, they cannot be. If you get sick because you drink unpasteurized milk, but they put on the container not for human consent, not for human consumption, then legally they're protected. In the same way, Gary is making sure he's covering his balance, saying, guys, we're about to approve something that's going to allow millions of people to have access to Bitcoin. I need to wash my hands real quick and warn you about potential fluctuations in price and scams. And that way, if anything bad happens, nobody's coming at my neck and getting mad at me about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I read that tweet this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think most people, kind of fall somewhere in the category of the way I described, the way you described it. Looks like our own Matt C actually got ranked in the replies as well.
Ooh.
He said, psych.
I think the algorithm just prioritizes.
I think that he was the top ranked.
You're right. You're
reply.
Absolutely right. Matt is the best commenter on X in the entire world. I'm sorry for trying to correct that. You're a good point. Good point.
Yeah. I like this edit too, right here. This was from Greg. He said, a thread, consider investing in crypto. So they will do. Yeah. Guys, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. There's all kinds of really sarcastic and snarky reactions to this tweet from Gary.
CBD Study asks a good question. This is the next natural question we have to ask. Because again, as the title suggests, and in my personal opinion, this tweet from Gary was a confirmation that we will be getting an ETF approval. That's nice.
I'm listening.
So the question CBD Study asks is, will it dump on approval? T-Shroom, what do you think? Do you think that the Bitcoin price dumps or continues to rally? Let's pretend Wednesday afternoon is our approval date. What does Bitcoin price do?
Wednesday afternoon. So we're basically asking the question posed by this graphic here, the thumbnail from the 9 a.m. live stream. The question is, what is going to happen if we get an approval? I think that we see a very sharp move to the upside. I really do. I mean, I don't know why I'm not trying to explain this with a chart here. Let me go over to the Bitcoin charts. I'm on the daily, which is probably the best way to analyze this. I mean, we're already seeing that price isn't baked in. I mean, you could argue that this is speculators coming in just to try to trade some volatility. But ultimately, I think, by the time we get over here to Wednesday, I think that we come up and we touch $50,000 per coin, right? And that wouldn't really be like a crazy move. You can't do without that on the draw tool. Let's see. That would be. There we go. That would be a 5% move up to 50,000, 6.3% move from where we are now. Very, very rough kind of analysis there. So I think it's in the cards. I think we probably need a pullback to come back and test down here around 45,000 again. And that would shatter some liquidity for sure to the downside. But then we go higher. Why do I say this from a fundamental standpoint, like trader psychology? Is we've already seen what happened when Cointelegraph mistakenly said that the ETF had been approved. Price skyrocketed. I think it was like 10 or 15% over the next 24 hours or whatever. So it was significant move higher. So I think we already know what's going to happen. I think that money on the sideline that's waiting is real, and it's going to get a bid. Now over the next 2 or 3 days, I think it's less uncertain, or I think it's less certain. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see 30, even 50% moves up and down as the market tries to recalibrate
Bitcoin.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad. You said 30 to 50% moves.
In a day? Yeah. Yeah. I think there could be some very serious volatility as the market tries to recalibrate. What do we do with this? Right. So, I mean, we're talking about really big money, right? It's going to move some of its
Yeah.
allocation in gold and commodities and futures into this new asset to try to gain some stability for like a 10-year
I
move.
would, I would say maybe 10, and maybe I don't correct me if I'm wrong, Tisha, because what you just communicated, 30 to 50% moves means like we go from being at like 50,000 all the way down to 30,000 and then pop back up to 50,000 all in one day. You think it's gonna be that volatile?
Yeah, that's what I'm tracking. I think that there's going to be some
Oh,
extreme
dang.
volatility.
Okay. All right. I think there's gonna be extreme volatility, but I'm more in the 10 to 15% range where we're like at 50,000 and then we drop back down to like 45,000 and then we pump back up to 50 and then we drop to like, like moves like that. But here's what I will say. I think that there's a decent chance. I showed you guys earlier doing TA that there is. I think we rallied today on hype of something that we're not going to see happen for roughly 48 hours. Right? We're not going to really see these approvals more than likely until Wednesday. Even BlackRock. That's when BlackRock didn't expect. They didn't say we expect today through Wednesday. BlackRock said we expect Wednesday to get an approval. There's lots of times for a pullback. There's lots of times for traders got hyped. They entered longs. They took out some short liquidations. We rallied up high, but now there's not a whole lot of short liquidations above us. So now it's time to dump the market back down to 45, 46. And then we kind of hover and wait. I think we pump. I think we pump on the news up to 53,000 is actually where I'm looking at. Starting with Kelly earlier today. Kelly says he's looking at 53, 55. If we get above 55, yeah, there's a good question on if we're going to be making a move up here, actually up closer towards 60K. And maybe you start to ask the question, are we going to get a pre-halving new all-time high? I'm getting ahead of myself to say that we're going to, but if we get above 55, you need to start asking that question. Could we see a new all-time high? Hold on, just say it. And then so my point here, the other reason why I'm bullish and think that we're going to move to the upside, I'm kind of saying this cheek and tongue, but I'm also dead serious. I'm actually going to go against something that I have said before. I used to say that I believed that this would be a sell the news event, right? There have been some things that maybe changed my mind. Of course, the interview that I had with James is part of that. I think there's going to be a lot of money that flows in here. But the other reason why I don't think it's going to be a sell the news event is because remember a couple days ago when the market crashed, T-Shroom, do you remember who we blamed it on? Do you remember what we blamed it on?
When the market crashed?
Yeah. Well, and I say crash. It went down 10%.
Oh, man. You caught me. Would you tell me what?
It was good old Jim Cramer.
Oh,
Jim
right.
Cramer,
Right.
in his interview said Bitcoin will not stop. It's here to stay, yada, yada, yada. And, of course, the price would go on to crash 10% in a day. But what was the other thing he said? He said a bearish thing, and that was
crypto's not going anywhere. It's here to stay, something like that.
Well, but he said the actual launch of the ETF would be a sell the rumor event or sell the news event. So apply Jim Cramer with logical thoughts of like when this gets approved, there actually might be lots of money on the sideline wanting to buy in. I think there is a short pump after approval up into the 50s, and then I think you start a potentially what will feel like a painful, but in hindsight will be quick, 1 to 2 month long bleed in price action, just setting lower highs and lower lows back down towards 31,000 in preparation for A, the halving event, and B, the actual purchasing of said ETFs. Because again, there's a second leg to this whole process. I think we shoot up towards 53,000. That's that gap in the volume. And then you slowly but surely start slowly bleeding back down. We're looking at about somewhere between a 30 to 40% dip. And then we start to take off here later on, quarter 2, quarter 3.
Yeah. All right. So let me defend a little bit my position here that I think we could see 30 to 50% movement in the days after the volatility, because I think what's going to happen is the first like 5 to 20 hours, right, that these ETFs get approved, right, there's going to be a wait for them to actually go live. But there's going to be obviously speculation on the spot in the futures markets for Bitcoin and a lot of other cryptos, right? So there's going to be volatility. But when those ETFs actually go live, I think it's gonna be a lot different than what a lot of folks are expecting. I think the volatility is going to be insane, and I think it's definitely not a time to be trying to do leverage trades in either direction. because
Possibly, I agree with that.
what we're unlocking here is very different. It's gobs of money that it's not going to all go in at once. Absolutely not. That's not what's going to happen. But there's going to be gobs of hedge funds that are going to try to front run this bigger move over the next month into the halving. That's going to be a bigger, bullish move. And those hedge funds are coming in with money that has been authorized in a way that we haven't seen in the past. Certainly, there's been very sophisticated traders in Bitcoin for a long time, and they've been doing things with their own money, right, for a while, and manipulating the market or just trading for profit, right? But now there's going to be money that's coming in that's authorized to be traded on behalf of clients, right? So it's a multiple of what we've seen. That and just fundamentally, just thinking about it in that way, there's going to be way more volatility. So when Bitcoin, we're used to seeing on a volatile day, 5, 10, sometimes 12% in one direction or another. I think when you add in that authorized dollar coming in and trading that same spread, I think it's going to be insane. And I think 30% to 50%, it's not going to be sustained into the future. Yeah. But I think there will be a few hours where it is like, someone said in the chat, going to be hitting circuit breakers. I do think that there's going to be some things that break. I think
can I make one argument though against this? And I understand. And I agree. I agree with longer term moves like that, like what you're saying. But the argument against short term choppiness, short term extreme volatility. I agree with short term choppiness afterwards, and that's why I'm sitting in the camp of like 10 to 15%. But if price moves within a couple of days, down 30%, up 50%, down 50%, up. If you see that kind of volatility, that is very unattractive to institutional adoption. And what is the whole purpose of this movement? It's all of these exchanges that want to get institutional money in. Hold on. And what's going to happen is BlackRock is going to have the power to manipulate price. But remember, part of the manipulation that they'll have is actually keeping it within safe zones. So if BlackRock wants something to happen, they'll have a good ability to get it done. And if they don't want something to happen, they'll have a good ability to prevent it. And so to me, I don't think you're going to see a BlackRock invested coin. You might see it jump up 50% a day because that's really attractive. But let's say it jumps up 50% in one day, it's going to take months to retrace all of that back down if they want to come back down. Because I'm telling you right now, their clients, if they see a red day of 50%, they have been programmed based off of the boring price action in the stock market to think that that's a dead product and they don't want to touch it.
I hear you, Tim. I do. I think that they're expecting alien movement, though. Like folks who've been on the sidelines, right? They've been comfortable with their money managers trading things like Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, right? Even on leverage sometimes, right? They do have a certain margin of expectation of what kind of volatility their personal, net worth is going to see. I get that. But they're not going to be going all in. They're not going to be trading with the Apple, Google, treasury money. They're going to be going in with like maybe, 1 to 10%, some small amount of their overall net worth of their portfolio that they're willing to risk. But they're also not going to be putting in 0.1%, right? They're going to be putting some serious money in to have some skin at the game at the beginning of this starting line, right? And I ultimately think that we could see some very, very extreme volatility, 30 to 50%. 50% would be I'm saying probably a 1% chance that we see that volatile, because it would be unattractive. And I suppose that there's enough institutions that would see that as something to try to act against. But I just think that there's such a low supply of Bitcoin that's floating on the top of the market that's actually for sale, that who knows how volatile this is going to get. And a move higher, up to all-time highs, up to 69,000, and then a retrace. I think that could happen in a day. We'll see. But
I just know money. The average individual, the guy who's going to work and trying to put money away for retirement. Because even this, when I asked earlier, how many of you guys are going to be purchasing ETFs? A lot of people said they were because of retirement purposes. They're Roth IRAs, filling out and overflowing their 401ks and stuff. A person who does not understand Bitcoin is not going to like seeing if something dropped 30 or 50% in one day, which is what we have become accustomed to here in the crypto world, which is why we're okay with it. But again, this is a move about mass adoption of traditional, of TradFi. And again, it's possible. I'm sitting here thinking we can move. I think that crypto will still be able to move up in a hurry. Or let me back that up. Bitcoin will be able to move up in a hurry. No one's going to complain about 50% in one day in the green. There will be plenty of people who complain about 50% in the red. That's why I think, I'm not even saying that we won't see negative streaks of time periods. It's just they're going to stretch. If we want the price to go down 50%, they're going to start stretching that out into like an entire year of a process.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to allow that to happen in any type of short time frame. Now, we got to move on here because it's 350. I did see comment-wise, CBD study. CBD study. There's a couple people here. C90FTW, excuse me, said pre-having new all-time high would be uncharted territory, right? Yeah, that would be extremely uncharted territory. I saw someone else comment that would probably be the super cycle. Yeah, I would say, guys, if we see a new all-time high, I'll put it this way. If we see a new all-time high before the halving event, I think predictions on Bitcoin's price action should be thrown to the wind. At that point, we are in such crazy territory. Why think even timeline-wise, why would we stop in the fall of 2025? Mm-hmm. I think that super cycle could be, new all-time highs by the halving event, over 100K by the end of 2024, possibly pushing towards well over 500,000, if not higher, by the end of 2025. And then the case of saying well, at that point, there's not even anything guaranteeing that we're going to stop at the end of 2025. At that point, it becomes a thing of hey, do you need the money? Do you want to diversify? Bitcoin's sitting in a spot where you've made enough money from it. Take some profit, go do something else. And when you want to buy back in, just start DCAing again. If we see a new all-time high before the halving, it's going to get nuts for a lot of different reasons. C90. He also said, Tim, this is the internet where we do not let you change your mind without being critical of it first. Fair enough, and that's completely fine. And guess what? I have changed my mind on so many things since I have invested in crypto, and I've taken my lumps and my hate from the comment section, and you know what I say? Good. It's great. If you're wrong about something, which I can be very frequently wrong, sometimes you got to be made fun of a little bit. That's how you learn your lesson in this world. I'm not advocating for online bullying, but I am saying, you know what? If I get something wrong and someone gives me a hard time about it, I deserved it. And so if I get this wrong, go for it. Roast me, say whatever you want, because that's how I'll learn.
Oh, there's Nancy Croy. Big Nancy Croy in the chat. Tim, I always talk about this on the morning stream. Nancy Croy was the first live chat of 2024. Always very excited to see Nancy Croy. Let me give one more swing at this argument, Tim. The reason why I think there's going to be such extreme volatility is because it has a lot more to do with this meme that's been going around of the salespeople that are on the phones with these fiduciaries that represent and manage really big clients with a lot of money, right? So far, what we've seen in crypto is a lot of sophisticated rich people coming in and front running the front runners, right? Which is great. But we're about to see just all of the people who just go to work, get paid, 7-figure, 8-figure salaries. They don't take the time to think about crypto. They don't take the time to even think about their own investments. They trust, the Morgan Stanleys, the BlackRocks of the world, right? And just 1% of their entire portfolio would actually move the market. Maybe not an individual, but it's just an immense amount of volume, I think, is what's going to be coming in, and it's all going to be at one moment too. I think that's why I'm thinking we're going to be seeing volatility. Sir, I would be very surprised if we didn't see 25% retrace from whatever we do, whatever highs we see, whether it be 50, 53, 55, or all-time highs. I would be very surprised if we didn't see a 25% down day. Now your argument is, well, people are going to get really scared by that. I think that it should be these fiduciaries' duty to say, "Hey,
real quick, just because we're getting closer to agreeing. I don't have a problem with 25%. I had a problem with 50% in one day. That's where I was like, that's not going to happen.
And 50% would be extreme, but yeah. I think it's potentially in the cards. I think it's a very small percentage, but 50% retrace, yeah, it would be extreme for one day. It would scare some people, right? But that's why you risk manage. A manager of people's money that we're talking about here, they're not going to let somebody go in with money they can't afford to lose. And they understand the specific retirement situation that their clients are in. But 1%, what they can afford to lose is very significant, especially when you multiply it by the amount of millionaires and billionaires that are not yet exposed that want to be. All right, that'll be the conclusion of that one, unless you had any final thoughts on that. But
No,
Tim,
I mean, I think there's elements of it that we agree on, and it sounds like we disagree, and there's elements we do disagree, and it's, to each his own. We'll agree to disagree, and we will see. I feel very strongly that I think that the more institutional money that gets in, the lesser the volatility. And to be honest with you, that's not necessarily a terrible thing.
I agree with that.
I'll just still find other DeGen projects that have volatility and trade those. But yeah, Bitcoin might get extremely boring to trade in the future unless you can use some hefty leverage.
And it should be. But it should be. By principle. But I think in the very short term, like by this weekend, I think things are going to be very, very wild, especially if they go ahead and make those ETFs go live within 24 hours of the approval. All right, Tim, are you ready to get the answer of the factoid of the day?
That's true. There was a factoid. Then we have a couple minutes to do some Q&A. By the way, just want to shout out everyone in chat. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys are enjoying the conversation, a lot of back and forth between me and T Shroom. Make sure you smash that like button. We have over 300 people in here. Once again, we had a phenomenal stream on Saturday, and it is carried over. You guys are killing it, but you got to smash that like button. You got to hit subscribe. I haven't even checked. T-Shirt, while you read the correct answer, let's see where our subs got to.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the factoid answer of the day, brought to you by Bitcoin Day, the event that Tim and I will be down in January 20th down in Naples, Florida. If you're in Florida, if you could get to Florida in an inexpensive way, we highly recommend going down there to celebrate Bitcoin and meet up with the bros. The answer to today's factoid is not what you'd think. No, it's exactly what you'd think, Tim. It's A, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Tim, you did it again. 2 days in a row with the right answer to the factoid of the day. How does it feel?
It feels good.
Who do you want to thank?
I want to thank the Academy.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Just kidding. I want to thank
the Piper Academy.
I want to thank the Elf for lining me up there for a knockoff home run. We are right now, after starting the stream off somewhere, we've gained like 30 something subscribers during live stream. We're at 6,945 subscribers. That means 55. We need 55 more subscribers, and we will be able to do an $100 giveaway here on Investing Bros
live.
As we're wrapping up the show, because we have a couple minutes left, let's go ahead and interact with chat again. Any questions you guys have for us? This is back at the Bitcoin chart. Yeah, we're pulling back here a little bit, guys. Bitcoin back down to 46.8. Cardano back down below 54, getting closer to that 53-cent zone. Solana back. I saw Solana was at 96 here just a little bit ago. $96, that is. What do you guys want to talk about? You guys want to look at charts? You guys want to talk about something else? Cryptic Mac said, this show is awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's
what's up.
That's very good. Very very appreciative.
We
love putting on an awesome show. And guys, we're so excited about this bull market. There's going to be a lot of money made. A lot of money made this year. Strap on in. Get ready for it. There's some phenomenal other channels. Make sure you guys are subscribing to all of those crypto channels because there's just so much good stuff being put out. But what we prioritize here, we prioritize being honest. We prioritize being fun because here's the thing. We're all going to make money. Let's have fun while we do it. And we prioritize just being a big culture here of community. It's not just about me and T-Shroom. It's about you guys as well. We have a meeting tonight with our gold members, a big update, but we want to run it past them first to incorporate and do a lot more stuff with you guys and get more people into the bros community. So if you're excited about that, you guys have found the right place. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We're like a little over 1 year into this channel. We got a lot of years left.
That's right.
So thank you for that, Cryptic Mac. Love that you like it. Sniper Paul said, just found you guys. I'm hyped. Thank you so much, Sniper Paul. Strap on in, everyone, says French Toaster. Eye of the Beholder says, let's freaking go, ? Love it.
That's right. Yeah, we're very excited, but guys, remember, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. It's very tempting to enter a super high X trade with a bunch of leverage. Don't do it. Just share in the excitement. Grab your hodl bags that you've already calculated and determined you can afford to lose, and just take the ride. Watch history unfold before your eyes. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Luke Duke says, love you guys. Thank you. What's the difference between Bitcoin Day or Nashville Bitcoin Conference? Great question, C90.
A lot.
T-shirt, what is the difference?
First of all, it's a much more intimate event, right? They like to, on the website, it's much more intimate, right? And the speakers that would be up on a stage, they're kind of just around, just mingling. So you could talk to them, ask them any kind of specific questions you might have, about their organization that they're with, whether it be a business, a project, or association. They may even be members of government there, regulators, or congressmen and women, all kinds of different people that would usually be up on the stage. They're right there kind of mixing it up, drinking some wine, drinking some, choice beverages, maybe even getting hydrated, right? Drinking some Gatorade, who knows? But you can just chill and chat. That's going to be the difference. And it's in Naples.
It's in Naples. It's a one-day event. I would expect the numbers of people there to be in the hundreds,
right? Not
thousands, like the Bitcoin conference. Which, by the way, shout out to the Bitcoin conference. I know that's coming up sooner. It seems like we were just at Bitcoin 2023, and we're getting pretty stinking close. I think it's in May, the Nashville conference this year.
That's right. Yeah, and it's going to be very close to my wedding, so I don't think I'll be going to that one, unfortunately.
That's true. That is close to your wedding.
We'll see.
May's going to be crazy. We got T-Shirt's wedding, got Brody's birthday, his first birthday.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin conference. I do believe May is going to be a busy month for me, a very busy month.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, let's see here. I think that's going to be about it. Tim pushing the Powerade, says Fade and TradFi. Powerade's okay. I'm a Gatorade person. At the moment, I have a Gatorade bottle filled with electrolyte water. I think I'm using Element. If you know of a drink company, an energy drink company, or a hydration drink company that wants to sponsor the channel, we are looking for a drink sponsor.
Yeah,
and that's not even a joke. So let us know.
Not a joke,
guys. That's all we have for you in this video. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to every single one of you guys for being awesome. Let's go Bitcoin up, and away. We'll be back tomorrow with the same lineup of shows: morning video, 9 a.m. live show, 3 p.m. live show, and a whole lot more. You can always check out more in our Discord. There's a free version and our membership version. Check both of them out. With that said, guys, you guys have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.